Yes. Okay. One of the pieces we have yet to really address deeply is good communication. One of the problems in data analysis in general is that there are two very distinct differences to the audience you are working for. In a lot of cases, you are looking at very well into the data people. The people who've been working on your team, who've been with you as you churned through and did all this analysis. They know the tests you've done, the rationales you've used to clean and decide on your data values and behaviors. And then you've got the people who you need to tell about what you've come up with. Those are very distinct groups, and quite frequently, the people you need to talk to have absolutely no idea of the math you did, the questions you are able to answer with this data, and the questions you aren't able to answer with this data. And if you can't explain it to them, it might as well be hieroglyphics. And without your own version of the Rosetta Stone, you are screwed. So, how do you convey the information you find? Once you get all this good, valuable insight, how do you let people know? As we've already seen, a wall of text, a giant chart of numbers, a big table doesn't help. What helps is a story. Now, we need to be careful about the way we phrase this story, because there's a difference between telling a data-driven story and telling personalized story. In a very real sense, while a slide deck full of stats gets the point across, doesn't engage anyone. When they're done listening to you, it's gone. How do you get it to stick? We need an engaging story. I need to make sure that what I want to convey stays with my audience. You've generated dashboards in Power BI. You've generated statistics in Excel. You've generated all this information. Now tell me about it. In the assignments you've been given, you've had to write a report, you've had to write a reflection, you've had to summarize and discuss. Yes? How many of you have used Canva? Oh, good. Let's try that again. Ding. This is another presentation creation tool. I don't care what you're trying to make, because they've got a giant list of things here that you can create here. And what's more, you've got a whole stack of design templates. If you are starting your business, your proposal, you've got a look in mind. You've got an image you want to project. Well, there are some choices you're going to have to make. If I'm going to take you seriously, and this is an important and weighty decision you're going to want to communicate that with your choice of imagery, of font, of effect, of animation, of all of these sorts of things. Canva is, by the way, accessible to you through our suite of information. All you need is an email account. You throw your Seton Hill email account to this, canva.com. There's a link on our Canvas page, and you can get here. If I want to start a presentation, over here on the left, this giant list of templates. Templates for, oh my, posters, resumes, flyers, brochures, videos, Instagram posts, stories. They're all here already. What Canva did is it scraped the social media feeds and then put together collaborative tools and said, we can use this. What do you want to make? There are lots of options we could make. If I'm going to work with a flyer for a club, I can go right here. Here are all the templates for flyers. You've seen a bunch of these around campus already. I know clubs have been using these. Where is the one I saw this morning? Yeah, this event schedule right here, 4 bars in the colors, that's on the elevator. That's already in use on campus. You can decide what sort of format you want to present. And you can even go through and pick some styles. You've got options. Do you want something fairly minimal? Okay, there. That's what they've defined as minimalist. I'm not sure I agree in a lot of cases, but we can use their style starting points. Maybe you'd rather something that was bright and bold. Here you go. That's, again, their definition. You can then drag stuff around here. You can even change the languages. If you know there's a specific audience you're trying to reach, target the language to it. Please notice, it tells me what the printout setup can be. It asks me, do you want to use this template? If there is a cost to this template, if it's part of some premium collection, it'll tell me about that. When I go to use it, it'll say, oh, you need to use this from the business version. Maybe it's free, maybe it's not. Check your permissions on all of these things. Close that. I can, in here, use the visuals I created in Excel, in Power BI. If I want to put together a full presentation, I can absolutely do that. Come on, load for me. It's spinning up there. It'll get there in a second. There we go. You can put whatever you want here. You can change the font. You can decide on what sort of background or foreground imagery is appropriate. Color scheme, the whole 9 yards. I don't know if you like black, brown, and cream colors. Maybe that's not the particular style guide you want to use for your behavior. But you can adjust any of these. Now, please note, me being up here, looking on my computer screen, which of these is most readable to you? Any layout or format particularly beneficial? You came back from Easter moot. Come on, talk to me, people. I mean, they're a little bigger, they're a little easier to read. You have to decide. But remember, is a wall of text useful? And again, color choice. In this case, I've got black on top and some light tan on the bottom. It's kind of hard to read against the tan background, isn't it? Your choices matter. I know that that handwritten font looks really nice, but it's completely illegible from there, isn't it? And you know that retro font in the middle there, real useful to me. You can affect your text, right? Hollow letters, an echo fade here at the bottom. Is that middle? This line actually says it is in outline font like this top line. Can you tell? And that bottom line has an echo in the background. It just looks blurry to me. And that's even with my glasses on. Aha. Maybe you didn't notice what happened as I came into that picture. Watch the lower right. I put a chart here. It drew it. It animated it as it came in. I've got a logo in the upper corner. I pushed it towards the back. Maybe that's useful. Maybe it isn't. There's text around this chart. If I wanted to, I could edit that chart's data to bring in data from something else that I've already used. I can actually edit that live in Canva to edit the data. Lots of options available to me. Again, I can animate my chart so it draws across. I can link out to other slides within the presentation. I can do all sorts of things. Is there a benefit to doing this format here? I said there's a link to the last slide. Maybe the other two are just references, and I'm not really going to go through those right now. I can just jump to the end by clicking, if I'm in present mode. I can actually see what that is, and there's the link. It goes to number 10, which is the last slide. If I'm doing an investor pitch, I'm going to need my market analysis. Is there a market for this? I'm going to need my demo, a screenshot, a video, something. Show me what the product is. I'm going to need the financials for the revenue forecasts. I'm going to need pieces of information to tell the story. Then I can export that as a PDF. If I'm creating a marketing campaign, maybe I've already got branding styles and issues that I already know I want to work. What are my goals? What are my key performance indicators? What's my target audience? Who are the people I am talking to? Can I then, in the text here, tell the story about those people? If I've got ad spots, what can I put them in? What's the timeline? What are the milestones? What's the budget allocation here? This I literally put together in 5 minutes. But I did it without any other purpose other than to say, hey, here's things I can do in Canva. If you have a project, this might be a better way to put that information out than just a report. However, readability, accessibility, who's going to see this? Where am I going to put it? Who's going to hear it if there's audio involved? Can I make this presentation appropriately accessible to everyone who has the target audience marker? I need large enough fonts to be readable. I need alt text on my images. I need sufficiently appropriate ADA compliance. And again, I need to make sure I'm not required to pay or that I have a budget to pay for, anything I want to pull down. If I take a stock image off of Canva's page, I may or may not have to pay for it. If I upload my own image, well, then I know I made it. It's mine. I can do what I want with it. But if I steal a picture offline and I violate somebody's copyright, company gets sued, I'm in trouble. A number you said you'd already used Canva. For what? Those of you that have used it, what'd you do with it?
Slideshow. And then just like a one page.
So a one-page poster as part of a slideshow? Or the one-page poster was separate? Okay. So you made a slideshow for a project, for a person, and then you made a one-page poster for a club or a personal event or something, right? And this is a free tool, and it has its own AI assistance in it. Is that helpful? Is that beneficial? Did you notice that when you did your work? Oh, okay. There are options available here. If you're wondering about a particular item and whether or not you can use it, whether or not you can bring stuff in, did you upload all the imagery that went with all of those things? Or was it all text, or was it all backgrounded?
This was also a while ago, so I haven't considered.
Well, that's what typically happens. We use a tool for a particular purpose, and then I don't need it again for a good long while, so I put it away and it leaks out my brain. It's only the stuff you do a lot of that's going to stick. I absolutely agree with that. But I think here, this is just another new potential tool for us to build presentations, displays, options for our business discussion. Other people, who else used this already, and what did you do with it? Come on, I saw at least half a dozen hands. Your post for... Oh, okay. So you were going to get online and say, hey, I'm coming to Seton Hill for baseball, and there's a post creation template up here, right? So you build whatever you want there. Okay. Why? Why do I need another presentation tool? My goal is to have you, when you're at the front of the room, convince someone of a particular course of action. As a business person, you need to be able to present your idea to the board, your venture capitalists, your funders, whoever your target audience, so they'll come buy your whatever it is. You need to be able to present to them a reason to do that. If you don't tell the story in a way that drives your customer, funder, board to do something, then you wasted your time. And potentially someone's money. Hopefully not yours. I need the data that you've created. I need the visuals you've built. Whether you build them in Power BI, Excel, or Canva, or somewhere else, I need those to be compelling, and I need them to hang together in a cohesive narrative. This is the part where I tell you, that you can be a math person all you want, but the universe doesn't speak geek. The universe tells stories. Visual storytelling is about taking your set of data visuals, creating a narrative that makes the insights those data visuals describe clear. I want a journey to be woven around this data. It isn't enough for you to just say to me, hey, we did this. Here you go. I need the audience to connect. Clearly, I'm failing at that this morning because y'all look like you're asleep. Now, it could just be that this is a boring topic and you're like, I don't give a shit. That's okay. That's fine. I can't force you to care. This is an amazing discovery I had as a teacher. I can tell people anything I want. I can't make you give it. Unless it's suddenly relevant to you, it shouldn't fool you. And I get that. So how do I get to the point where you're engaged, where it matters? Well, I mean, there's the threat of a grade on something. Big deal. Negative motivation is rarely useful. But that means I need to come up with a narrative. And every story has to have the same three primary elements. Every story has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. What is our beginning? From a data perspective, our beginning is a question. Why did I do this analysis? What was the question asked of me? What do I want to know, to learn, or to understand about the situation I find myself dealing with? If I am trying to sell you a product, the beginning is, I want to sell this to you. What can make you buy this? What can drive the audience? So that's a context or a problem I'm trying to solve. The middle, therefore, is what did I actually do? What's the data analysis? What are the insights? That's what did I learn? What did I get from this examination of the data? Hey, the way to make people buy this product is to show them that it will make their lives easier. To show them that they will have more recreation free time. They will have less onerous, difficult chores to do, whatever this product is. It'll clean your bathroom in a heartbeat, whatever it is. And then my end is what do I do about that? What are my recommendations? What should I do next? This is a 3-act play. And you are the players. This may not be your action step. This could be the actions you want the audience to take. So there might be, in the midst of this, a call to action. I'm sure you have seen a lot of people online, on the news, on the TV, on the radio, talking about you should take action in order to prevent this disease, this politician from getting elected, to engage so that this politician will get elected, to prevent this, whatever action they want to have not happen. Here's what you need to do to stop environmental destruction and heavier storms. Here's what you need to do to generate more equitable outcomes in healthcare. Here's what you need to do. Maybe it's we need to launch a campaign. Maybe it's a budget proposal. We need to raise money. You should approve that budget proposal. The call to action has to be directly resulting from the insights I've generated. If it isn't connected, then it's not going to matter. And this is why what you hear in a lot of these are personal stories. As much as I love doing data analysis, what's what sticks with people? Anecdotes. A person, a story, a single example sticks on people's minds better. Who knows what St. Jude's is? What is St. Jude's? Children's Research Hospital. And every fundraiser for St. Jude's does what? Every advertisement for St. Jude's does what? Shows the kids. Doesn't that tug your heartstrings? These poor sick children. Of course it does. You're going to look at me and say, no, I would not give you $10. I want this child to die. Isn't that the main point of Ebenezer Scrooge in The Christmas Carol? Shouldn't they go to the poorhouses in the hospitals? I should not give them money. No, I want to pull on your heartstrings. I want to make sure this is connected. A single example hits harder in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases, that single example is deliberately chosen to reflect that group data. If it isn't, then you know somebody's being misleading. So how do I make a data-driven story? If I'm going to write this narrative, what do I need to do? Start here. Why? Felix?
Maybe that's the most important step when people no longer pay attention.
Well, I mean, I got to start with where I want to end so that I know, can I support this? But yes, if I say, hey, this is what I want you all to be doing, and here's why, if I start with that sentence and they're like, nope, F this, I'm out. Or you're absolutely right, you don't need to go any further. I could make this presentation really short-circuited, couldn't I? If I don't have that main takeaway, and it really should be a single sentence, this is what you need to walk out of here with. If it isn't, you need to make that narrower. Maybe it needs to be several different presentations, not one with 17 goals. I need one. This is what I want you to walk away from here with. If I don't know where we're going to end, I don't know how to begin. Once I know where we're going to end, I can then go back and I can go, what's the context? What's the question? And that means I need to understand who I'm telling. Because your audience will determine the way you tailor the story. If you are talking to the Greensburg community about Seton Hill, they may not know all the things that go on at Seton Hill. If you're talking to a group of commuter students, you might get very different points of perspective than if you talk to resident students. If you talk to athletes and non-athletes, who are you talking to? What level of detail do they need? Need a big 30,000-foot view, or do they need to get down in the weeds and see the 6-inch view? That's the way you tailor to the audience. Do you need to know what the trends are? Time-wise, financial, operational, and what insights will drive them to the decision? Because then you can start tailoring the visuals to the story. If I'm looking at trends over time, I probably want a line chart of some type. If I'm looking at categorical discussions, I probably want to compare across categories. Maybe I want a pie chart or a bar chart. If I want to look at patterns geographically by some pair of categories, some sort of heat map or intensity map might be better. We have options based on what's going to give us the right support for the idea we want to put out. And then write the narrative that goes around all of this. And that means set the context in your beginning. Where did this problem come from? What is the question you were asked to talk about? Who asked you? Why do they want to know? What's the goal out of this? Then present your data. Use the visuals you've created, but make sure you don't blow people away with, wall after wall of incomprehensible bull. And then finish that out with your recommendations. So in a real sense, that beginning, middle, and end is observe, analyze, and recommend. People who are entrepreneurs do that observation part until they can find the place where they think they can make a product or an option or money out of the situation. They analyze the market for that, and then they put out a product. And that's where our call to action comes into play. What is the last sentence? We started with that idea. So now I need to actually put it out in front of my audience. This needs to be specific. It needs to be actionable. It needs to be clear. A case study. I look at the sales data for my company, my nationwide company, and I say, where are things going well and where do they suck? So my goal, if I run this business, what's my goal? I'm looking at sales data. What do I, as a business owner, want to have happen? I want to improve sales. I want to get things out the door. I want this to go up. And if I've got various performances based on region, my goal is to highlight where the performance is low and figure out how to fix it. So now I can say, the question is, what regions are underperforming? Can I figure out why? So I take my data analyst team and I pose them this question. Hey, what's going on with sales? They're going to come back to the board and present to the senior leadership of the company, this is what's going on with sales. How detailed should this view be? Should this be a 30,000-foot view or a 6-inch view? I don't think the answer's on the screen in front of you. Should this be a 50,000-foot view or a 6-inch view? What level of detail are they going to need?
But it would be both,
Why so?
because, I mean, you're looking at regions, it's a pretty wide view, but then they want recommended methods to improve sales, so like, you have to look into the regions to understand what's happening.
So I do need at least some level of detail, right? I may not want to know exactly how, this particular brand of t-shirt is selling at the store in Poughkeepsie, but I may want to know how, in general, t-shirt sales are doing in the Northeast. So there's got to be some level of generalization and some level of specificity if I'm going to come up with good recommendations. This is on the analysis team level. When you get to the presentation, you need to have access to that data, even if the presentation only contains the broad brushstrokes. So maybe you say, I didn't think you guys would want to know about the store in Poughkeepsie, but I thought you might just want to know about the Northeast. Hang on, click, click. Here's a more detailed blow up. This is where drill down ideas come into play, like we built in Power BI. Okay, so there's a different level of required depth in the first shot of the presentation and in what I might actually need when I get there. Okay, so when it comes to visuals, what am I going to need? I'm going to need some time series data to figure out how trends are going by product, by region. So I'll need some sort of line charts. But if I'm trying to do a comparison from region to region, if I do multiple line charts, it might not be very clear. I may want a bar chart or a pie chart as well to do a region breakdown. So now I can say, I've looked at my data. I've got an analysis and it tells me that overall, I'll make some stuff up. So I sit down, I do my analysis, and let's say I come up with something like this. So I can start with my beginning. Overall sales are up. This is good for us. But it is a little spotty. And then I can go into the details. I see region A, they did amazing. Region C, not so much. But region B just stayed the same. Okay, now I have information. And if they ask specifically what didn't work in region C, I need to be able to pull that data. If they ask what went so well in region A, I need to be able to say, oh, well, look here. I need to be able to drill through the broad strokes to the details. So now I've got a beginning, I've got a middle. What's my end? I need a recommendation. I think we ought to spend some more training budget money in Region C, get them trained up to sell better, or to use the other techniques we've learned from watching what happens in Region B. Let's take some Region A. Let's take some people from Region A to do the training in Region B. See. I've got to pay these people to go visit these other stores and say, hey, what about this? And now I sum it up in a call to action. I think you need to add $100,000 to the budget line for training in Region C. That's specific. It's actionable. The board can approve or disapprove of that right then. Questions? See the way I built the narrative here? If I wanted to add a specific anecdote, maybe I could talk about that one shop up in Poughkeepsie. Hey, they did this sort of sales very well. This month, this product, they did remarkable. Or I could add the other way around. Hey, there was a problem in this section of Region C. Now we know something must have happened. I wonder what it was. Then I can go look at the news and correlate, hey, there was a power outage, lasted 8 days. You remember last April? Kind of screwed up everything. Same idea if I'm looking at customer service behavior, right? Hey, lag time, wait times are up. Everybody's queued in the software. Things are going wrong. What gives? I need to implement training on the new system by Q3. We're in the midst of beginning of Q2. We can do that. A single topic, a single story. If I don't have a clear single message, I can wander all over the face of the planet. People get lost along the way. Okay, who saw the Lord of the Rings movies? Okay, I see a very small number of hands. I feel unfortunately really old at this point. They're long. They're winding stories. And if you actually read the books, you could take a good section of 10 pages, just turn all 10 at once and not miss a damn thing. Because Tolkien spends easily 10 pages describing the hillside and countryside that the horses are walking through. Yay? You do that with one pan shot in the movie, you're done. If I wander my story, I'm going to have a problem getting action out of the end. Make sure your visuals are appropriately clean and demonstrable, and they reflect the data accurately. If you've got a slideshow going on here, make sure they are simple slides. I deliberately added a logo and a chart and a bunch of images and a bunch of different text on one slide just because I could. That slide is a mess, and it's not going to make a good presentation to whomever I'm doing it with. The best presentation I saw was 10 slides long. Do you know how many words it contained? 7. Title on the first slide. Every other slide was nothing but an image or a single visual, and the person talked about what that visual demonstrated and what they were able to learn. This, by the way, was a physics presentation about superconductors back in But the idea was there. 10 slides, 9 pictures, 1 set of 7 words. That was it. You need to practice your delivery. You need to make sure that you've rehearsed. You sound clean and confident up here. You know what you're talking about. You know how to hand off to the next person who's going to talk about something else. If you're doing this as a team, then everybody knows what their cues are and everybody knows where things are going. If you've got effects, animation, color, be strategic about it. If I want to focus this loss of 15% in region C, what could I do? What would make sense from a finance and accounting perspective that would stand out on the slide? I definitely having the data up there is going to help, but if I want that minus 15% to pop off the screen, aha, highlight it. From a financial perspective, what color is bad news? Right, so there you go. I can change the font. I can change the highlight. The highlight could be red, right? As a matter of fact, I could do that for all profit loss ideas. Make my profits in black, my losses in red. People will notice. They'll just be able to look at the picture and go, oh, there's a lot of red there. I'm in deep shit. I don't care what data you're looking at. If there's a reason to color code it that makes sense to the audience, might be worth doing. But make sure you tell the story. Hey, something weird happened in region C. Let's figure out what it was. And that way the insights and the journey I took to get them through that data is what sticks with my audience. So that you know I didn't just make this crap up and here's some slides and thank you, goodbye. How many times have you seen somebody read a PowerPoint to you? Oh, y'all are ignoring me at this point. I know the instructors here do it all the damn time. How many people have just stood here and read a PowerPoint to you? Right? It's the boringest thing you can do in class. You'll notice how many PowerPoints I put up here. It makes a difference. If somebody's just going to read it to you, they're insulting you. You can read, I hope. Why would I stand here and read this thing to you when you can read it probably faster than I can say it? If I'm just going to read it, I should have given you the report and left. I should give you the PowerPoint and walk away. And that's why when I start this class, what's up here? A blank sheet of paper. So we can have, ideally, more than just me spewing stuff, a discussion. Questions? I did just throw out PowerPoint as an option. Most people, when they present PowerPoint. So, if I'm going to write a presentation in PowerPoint, but I've done all my work in Power BI and Excel, how do I get it there? This is the attendance data for this course. Surprise, you're up there. If you look carefully at the left-hand side of the page, you'll notice a whole bunch of hidden rows. I hid away individual names. All I kept was the very bottom line. How many people are in class? Right? So all that shows me. How many people are in class? So if I want to do a trend analysis here, I can do that. Doesn't that look like all sorts of weird happened in the middle? Well, that's spring break. That's Founders Day. That's this past Thursday, which was Easter Thursday. That makes sense, doesn't it? I really could eliminate that data, and that would be fine. But how do I get this information into PowerPoint? There's a PowerPoint started. Now what? There are several different ways to bring data in here, especially to bring visuals. That image, I should probably put that in PowerPoint. But if you go back and look here, you'll notice there's today. I haven't put today's number in yet. I have taken attendance, but I haven't put the number in yet. If I take this picture and I stick it in the PowerPoint, it's just that, it's a picture, and it's not going to change. And I can do that. Right click in the middle of this. I can copy it. Control C. I just copied that entire picture. And then I go over to PowerPoint and I can paste it in. I cheated. I already did this. I even put a title slide on it. Hey, look, university logo and everything. But there's my picture. And down there at the bottom is a caption telling people what those zeros are for. They don't think, oh, you must have told them to go away. No, there were legitimate reasons to have nobody there that day. But if I go back into Excel, and I change this, notice that in Excel, it changed. But over here in PowerPoint, nothing. Oh, crap. If I cut and paste, I am embedding a picture. It is static. And this semester isn't over yet, so this data is going to change the entire semester long, isn't it? I have a problem. This is not the latest data. What happens if I need this to update? Well, what I could do is link the slide. The slide that's linked remembers where the file is. And then I say, hey, this file may have changed, go get the new file. If you right click in the middle of the picture in PowerPoint, where is that? Chart design. There it is, chart design. And right up there at the top of chart design is refresh data. Now, I have to make sure in Excel that I've saved the file with the uploaded data, the updated data, and then I click refresh. Why aren't you refreshing? You refreshed yesterday. Why aren't you refreshing today? Select data in Excel. What? Save. Because I entered it in the wrong place. 27. Boom. Save. Refresh. There it is. I saved it to the wrong copy of the file. That's an important issue. If there's more than one live copy of the file, I might get the wrong file. I might not have the latest data. So if I'm going to embed something, I need to make sure that embedded version is final. If I'm not going to embed something, if I'm going to link to it and be able to refresh it, I need to make sure the file's where I know it's going to be, so I don't lose that information. It is possible to have a paste special option when you go to paste something. Let me create a blank slide. When I go to paste, Control Command V gives me paste special. Paste special allows me to paste an office graphic object. That is live linked. And I don't manually need to refresh the data. That will refresh every time the data file underneath it is changed, as long as both PowerPoint and the data file are available in the same place. When you go to paste, it'll sometimes ask you, hey, do you give me permission to go look at this? If you say no, you've created an embedded object. If you say yes, you've created a linked object. This works differently in different versions of PowerPoint. I saw it work one way in PowerPoint 365 online, and a different way here on my Mac, and things are supported differently in online versions versus the Mac version, versus the PC version. So if you want to do a particular thing, you should check and make sure that the version you are doing supports what you want it to do. Now, the fact that I can, right here, say what I want you to do in chart design is actually edit the data in Excel, means the PowerPoint and Excel talk to each other directly. I can go grab this in Excel, open Excel right here, and change the data, and it will automatically reflect here. So if I've got live data, or if it was edited somewhere else by someone else in my shared drive on my team in OneDrive, it's still available to me, and I can look at it. By the way, that is why in my comment about I saved it in the wrong place, if you look here in Finder, you'll see I have the attendance data example Excel sheet, and I have a copy of it. I opened the wrong one the first time. I opened the copy, not the original. If you change something, you have to make sure you change it in the right place. And that's why it's useful to back up your data. And backups should be coded with their date information, when they were backed up, when they were last edited. So make sure you've got a backup of the file you're working with so that you know where your data is coming from. This also means you should limit the updates. If I'm going to the board with financial information, or I'm going to my investors, I would need to make sure that that information isn't edited that morning. Because I've rehearsed my speech, and if I come into the room and something changed overnight and I don't know it and it's not reflected there, that could be a problem. Or I need to know that that data is as up to date. 10 minutes before the presentation is supposed to start, I'm going to double check the data. Hey, did anything come in last night that I need to know about really urgently? Ideally, I would assume that my team called me if something major changed. What happens if somebody moves a file on you? They move a file on me, I will get a broken link comment. When I go to PowerPoint and I say I want to get the data in Excel, it'll say there's no file there. The error unfortunately is not supported on the Mac version PowerPoint. Now I find this really odd because that help file, refreshing data not supported in PowerPoint for the Mac, yet you saw me do it a minute ago, didn't you? Not supported, but it worked. If the file is not linked, I can't repair the link. That's not supported on the Mac. That one actually did fail to actually occur. So sometimes it works, sometimes it's. Be very careful where you choose to get things. On a PC, you can edit the link. I tried it on PowerPoint 365 and I couldn't edit the link there either. Questions? We've made a very limited set of visuals. In the visuals I've asked you to turn into me, you've made pie charts, and bar charts, and scatter plots, and very little else, yes? A line graph occasionally, that's about it. There are dozens of chart options available to me. And so I stole a link to a page of about 24 different visual styles. Python-driven examples and how to build them. Gantt charts, box and whisker charts, highlight tables, bullet graphs, a chloropleth map. I'd never heard of such a thing in that name. It's an accelerator gauge. Correlation matrices, word clouds, network diagrams, they're all available here. If you're trying to make a particular visual, or you say to yourself, I wish I had a different visual, there's a dictionary. And that'll help. Questions? I can do a lot of similar things in Power BI, but rather than take 5 minutes, I'm going to wait and do that on Thursday. We'll discuss it then and some more of our visual stories. So I will see you all on Thursday. You are reminded that things were due beginning of class today.